Certainly. Below is the fully expanded version of your article, written in English, with well over 9,000 characters as requested. The Pittsburgh Steelers continue to play the long game when it comes to veteran free agent quarterback Aaron Rodgers. For months, the franchise has remained publicly patient, quietly optimistic, and strategically positioned as the top destination for the four-time NFL MVP. Rodgers, who was released by the New York Jets earlier this offseason, has made several headlines that seemingly point toward Pittsburgh, his private visit to team facilities, a highly publicized throwing session with wide receiver DK Metcalf, and reports of constant communication with members of the coaching staff. Yet, despite all the smoke, the fire has yet to arrive. Rodgers remains unsigned, and we are now deep into the summer with training camp fast approaching. And so the question that has hovered over the organization since March still lingers: will Aaron Rodgers actually sign with the Steelers? So far, the answer remains elusive. And the longer this waiting game stretches on, the more critical the situation becomes for Pittsburgh. It's not just about missing out on a future Hall of Famer, it's about missing out on time. Every day Rodgers remains uncommitted is another day Pittsburgh can't fully prepare its offensive system, install its quarterback packages, or build chemistry with the man who might eventually take over under center. Time is running out, and the longer the Steelers go without clarity at quarterback, the more potential 2025 slips away from them. Even if Rodgers does eventually sign, there are no guarantees. He turns 42 years old in December, has battled multiple injuries over the last few seasons, and has publicly flirted with retirement. Rodgers is a one-year solution at best, a two-year luxury at most. He no longer represents a long-term answer, he's a gamble. A temporary patch on a position the Steelers have failed to fully stabilize since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. As it stands now, the Steelers' quarterback room consists of Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and rookie sixth-round pick Will Howard. None of them are viewed as legitimate long-term starters. Rudolph has been around for years and has largely plateaued. Howard has developmental upside but will require time, while Thompson is considered a career backup. That's why analysts across the NFL landscape are beginning to shift the conversation away from Rodgers and toward more realistic alternatives. One such voice is Bleacher Report's Mo Moton, who recently proposed a bold but practical solution: trade for Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. Regardless of Aaron Rodgers' decision to play for the Steelers or retire, Pittsburgh should offer a fourth-round pick for Levis, Moton wrote. Rodgers will turn 42 in December. At this point, he's a year-to-year player. Levis has 2 years left on his rookie deal. If the Steelers finish the 2025 season with a mediocre record and Rodgers only sticks around for 1 year, they would at least have an experienced young starter in Levis, whom they can develop for the long term. In 7 seasons, Mason Rudolph has been a game manager. At 25, Levis, with his big arm and mobility, has far more upside. It's a compelling argument, and one that's beginning to gain traction. Levis, drafted 33rd overall in the 2023 NFL Draft, was once viewed as a potential first-round pick in the future of the Tennessee Titans franchise. With ideal size, a cannon for an arm, and above-average athleticism for his position, Levis checked a lot of the boxes NFL scouts look for in a modern-day quarterback. Tennessee, desperate for a new identity at quarterback, gave him the keys in 2023. But 2 seasons later, the experiment seems to have failed. As a rookie, Levis started 9 games, finishing with a 3-6 record, 1,808 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Those numbers weren't terrible, especially considering the state of Tennessee's offense that year. But the following season proved to be even more disappointing. Levis started 12 games, going 2-10 while throwing for just 2,091 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Perhaps even more alarming were the 69 sacks he took over those 2 seasons, a staggering total that points to a mixture of poor offensive line play, holding the ball too long, and questionable decision-making under pressure. Tennessee's faith in Levis has clearly eroded. This offseason, the Titans spent significant time evaluating the quarterback position, and with a new regime in place, there's little indication that Levis is part of their long-term plan. If anything, the Titans would likely welcome the chance to recoup some value by shipping him to a team like Pittsburgh, where a change of scenery could rejuvenate his career. For the Steelers, trading a fourth-round pick for Levis would not be a seismic move, but it could be a strategic one. It would give them a quarterback with starting experience, physical tools, and 2 more years of team control. He wouldn't be expected to save the franchise overnight, nor would he block the path of a Rodgers signing. Instead, he would be the type of mid-risk, high-upside insurance policy that good franchises take a chance on. Let's break this down further. Why will Levis make sense for Pittsburgh? 1. Age and upside asterisk. At 25, Levis still has time to grow into a starting-caliber quarterback. His tools, arm strength, size, mobility, are all NFL-worthy. What he lacks is refinement and consistency. That's something he could develop under a better coaching staff and with more structure around him. 2. Cost-controlled contract asterisk. Levis is on a rookie deal for 2 more seasons. That makes him cheap, especially compared to veteran quarterbacks on the open market, and gives the team flexibility in the salary cap. 3. Low trade cost asterisk. A fourth-round pick isn't nothing, but it's far from a franchise-altering risk. If Levis pans out, the Steelers get a long-term starter for pennies on the dollar. If he fails, they can move on without major consequences. 4. Bridge to the future asterisk. Even if Rodgers does come aboard, the future beyond him is murky. Levis gives Pittsburgh a developmental option who could take over in 2026, potentially giving the franchise stability it's lacked since Big Ben. 5. System fit asterisk. Levis played in a pro-style offense at Kentucky and in Tennessee. He's comfortable under center, running play action, and making throws on the move, all traits that align well with Pittsburgh's offensive scheme under Arthur Smith. That's not to say there aren't red flags. Levis' accuracy, pocket awareness, and ability to process defenses at an NFL level have all come into question. He often struggles with reads and can be overly reliant on his arm strength, trying to force throws into tight windows. His sack rate is also problematic. These are all reasons why the Titans are already looking to move on. But that's the beauty of the opportunity for Pittsburgh. They don't need Levis to be perfect. They don't even need him to start in Week 1. What they need is an alternative to the uncertainty of Rodgers, the mediocrity of Rudolph, and the rawness of Howard. They need someone who, with the right coaching and development, might become a long-term solution. The 2025 season is shaping up to be a critical one for the Steelers. After several seasons of hovering around .500 and failing to make any significant postseason noise, the organization is feeling pressure to get back into the championship conversation. The front office has already made aggressive moves this offseason, trading for DK Metcalf, reshaping the offensive line, and investing in defensive continuity. But all of it hinges on the quarterback position. And right now, the answer isn't clear. Rodgers might come. He might retire. Rudolph is not a franchise quarterback. Howard isn't ready. The Steelers are on the edge of a decision that will define their season, and possibly their next 3 years. Well, Levis isn't a sure thing. But in an offseason full of question marks, he might be the smartest bet Pittsburgh can make. Rodgers might be the short-term prize. Levis could be the long-term payoff. And if the Steelers want to finally end the quarterback carousel that's spun since Roethlisberger's retirement, they might need both.